Hello, and happy Taco Tuesday. Okay, I'm going to adjust this. Okay, I got a new tripod and I'm loving it. It's making my life so much easier. The hair today, y'all. It's something else. But y'all, you're finally looking at me like if we were sitting across from each other, and I'm so excited about it. Previously, I had the different, and tell me how the audio sounds. So tell me in the comments if the audio sounds okay, because I actually have, instead of having my mic like right here in my face, I have it just slightly below, which I think is going to make everything sound good. But let me know in the comments how everything sounds. But previously I had this I have a writing desk. If you've ever seen, I did a recent YouTube video on like behind the scenes, what my office looks like whenever I'm recording a podcast, doing my YouTube videos. And I have this writing desk, and for a long time I've had this tripod that just sits on my desk, which is great for whenever I just need to take pictures or do whatever. But now you are like, we're looking eye to eye. I'm looking right at you right now. And it just feels so much better. I can actually see better. The other tripod would like block my my date, my time, like in the bottom corner of my monitor. So I'd always be like, I hope that I haven't gone over. I mean, thank goodness there's this little timer in StreamYard when I'm recording, or, when I'm live. So it tells me how long I've been live. Otherwise, I'd be kind of like in the dark. I have no idea. No idea. Okay. Awesome. Hi, Ronald. So glad. Okay, good. So everything sounds good. Sounds great. Just imagine Tony the Tiger when reading that. I don't know if that was intended, but that's really, yeah. Good morning to you, Jerry. So happy that you're here. So we are here today for our regular Taco Tuesday. I know that I was not here last week. We're here for Taco Tuesday. Let me bring Rita on. This is Rita. She is still, I think, my favorite GIF. I mean, I have to move because you can't actually see my face when she's on here, but it's so much fun. It's Taco Tuesday, my favorite day of the week. Excited to be here with you. I was not here last week, and that was because I was chaperoning almost 200 middle schoolers. We went to the Houston Symphony. So if you don't know this, I live just outside of Houston, Texas, and my son is in orchestra, and they were having an opportunity to go to the Houston Symphony. And I was like, yeah, I'll chaperone. That sounds like an amazing, amazing thing to go to. And so I was at the symphony last week, and I, for a split second, was like, maybe I could go like live. Maybe I could do this live stream from a school bus. Y'all, it would have not have worked. I'm so glad that's a terrible idea. I nixed that immediately. Plus, we were coming off the lunch, and I was like, no, we're just going to do what we can with what we have. And I didn't do my live stream last week because I wasn't able to. But we are back. We are back. It's February. It's like I just now realized that, even though I did like my journaling this morning and I did write the correct date, and I'm finally writing 2022. It only took me a month, but it's February. How did that happen? Is it just me? Like, when did it become February? Like, why is this happening? Yeah. Hello from Nashville. Happy that you are here. Hi, Tanya. Oh, I sound good. Okay, good. I was a little worried about it because I've been wanting to move my microphone away from my face and not have it right here. And now it's possible to do that with my little camera setup. Yes, absolutely. Let's get after it. I just cannot believe that's February. It's so wild to me that it's already here. So I am coming to you today to answer your content questions. Now, we're going to talk about this real fast because this is something that's going to be changing. Things are changing around here. Don't worry. Nothing's going to go like, oh, like we're not going off into the ditch, off into the wilderness. Okay. We are just simply widening our path, if that makes sense, because we are going to continue to talk about podcasting here on this channel, or if you watch me in the Facebook group, or you're watching me on LinkedIn, wherever you're watching me, I'm going to be providing lots of content on content creation. So I'm getting even more meta than I already was. I have my podcast about podcasting, and I'm going to have a YouTube channel about YouTube. Like, it's all the things. But I have really seen this shift that I've been wanting to make for a while in my content. And it's simply because I get questions a lot from people that want to know about content marketing in general. And I can't always answer those questions on the podcast because I feel like, well, we have to just talk about podcasting on there. But there's been a lot of you. Like, it was kind of like, you need to read the room, read the signs, and the signs were pointing to we need to kind of branch out just a little bit. So if you've ever heard the term niching down, right? It's when you're too broad and you need to like zone in on something. Well, I feel like we niched in so much on podcasting that I want to zoom out just a little bit to incorporate those of you that are wanting to know about video content. You want to know about live streaming. You want to know about YouTube. You want to know about email marketing. Like, I don't talk a lot about email marketing and other types of content marketing simply because I felt like, well, podcasters just want to know podcasting. You just want to know the audio. You just want to know the editing. You want to know how to create the best podcast episode possible. But now that I'm looking at the term content creator as a whole, I'm realizing there are other skills and abilities and things that I've learned in my own journey that would be super helpful to someone that's like, okay, yes, I'm podcasting, but how can I take that podcast and add it to YouTube? Or how can I take that podcast episode and turn it into, a 4-part series that I want to use as a lead magnet and I want to grow my email list? These are the things that excite me. Like, this is, if you thought yes, I'm nerdy about podcasting, but I think for me, it's the overall content creation and the marketing piece that keeps me coming back because I've been doing this for a long time now. Like, I feel like I no longer am calling myself the rookie. I'm not the rookie in this space that's trying to make a name for myself. I feel like I've really established, if you've been around here for a while, you know how much I love podcasting. You know how much I love to geek out about podcasting. Well, I want to share more of my geekiness, my nerdiness about content creation instead of just keeping everything behind the scenes. Because what will typically happen is someone will ask me a question in a Facebook group or an email or a DM about YouTube. And I've been hesitant to answer the question because I'm like, I want to answer, but I don't want to answer that publicly in this group because that's not really what I do. I've been telling myself for a long time, that's not really what I do. That's not really my specialty. So I've been kind of like shying away from the different types of content that I want to help people with, but I haven't because I'm like, you're the podcast girl. You can't do that. You can't be like, you can't have these multiple personalities and be all these different people. So I'm niching up to talk more to content creators specifically. So if you have any questions about that, or you want to know more about really video, podcast, blogging, I'm definitely not even trying to go into social media. Let's make that really clear. When people ask me about social media, I'm like, I could tell you what I do, but also, I'm not the person that's like putting out the content about Instagram Reels and like all these other things because I'm like, I'm usually the last to know. I follow the people that do all these things and I appreciate them. If you're a social media person, I appreciate you so much because I learn from you, but I don't want to be the one doing all that research. It doesn't light me up. What lights me up is people that have a special message and you know that what you talk about can help other people. You know that you just want to inspire, you want to motivate, you want to educate, you want to entertain, you want to really help other people through your content. Those are the people that I want to serve and help them feel really going above and beyond like what you feel like, okay, I don't just want to like put something out, like record it, put it out there and then hope for the best. That's not a great strategy. We need to talk about your content strategy if that's what you've been doing. But it's more of going in the ways of marketing, content creation, and I'm just super excited about it. Hey Monique, super happy that you're here. Yes, yes, yes. So happy that you're here. Yeah, expanding out. Yes. So I really find that, and this is also a great what is it? You got to practice what you preach. And I will tell people if they're feeling a little bit of that friction, or it's not unsettling, because that's not at all what it feels like. That's just the word that keeps coming to mind. It's not an unsettling. It's more of, I want to help more people that really find themselves kind of teetering on this, like, should I do YouTube? Should I do a podcast? Should I do both together? Should I only focus on one? But then they decide, you know what? I tried this, it didn't work. I want to switch to this. I would just love to help all the different people in all the different aspects. And if you didn't know this about me, I actually have all three. I have a blog, I have a podcast, I have a YouTube. I actually have two podcasts. And I just love creating content. I create so much. I actually did a podcast interview yesterday. I'm launching another podcast. I'm not doing this by myself. We're launching a podcast with two friends of mine. And we did this like round robin where we introduced each other, which was really fun. I've never done that before, where we're like, okay, you introduce her, and then you're going to introduce her, and then she's going to introduce you. And I got a little nervous, like, oh, what's she going to say about me? And one of the things that she brought up was how much content I create, but how much joy I have in doing it. And it was just the best compliment ever, because I think that a lot of people get super stressed out when they're doing content. And from an outsider's perspective looking in, I can tell you a few reasons why that happens. One of them is overwhelm. You just have no idea what you're doing. And you're like, I was just told I got to create content, so I'm throwing something out there. And you're overwhelmed and it's not fun. And you're just like, but people told me I got to have a podcast. I got to have a website. I got to have a YouTube channel. So I'm just doing it. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just getting started. And that's sometimes what we have to, it's what I did. It's what I did with my YouTube channel. If you don't believe me, go back to, you can go to my YouTube channel, go to sort videos, go to my very first videos. You'll see what I'm talking about. I had no idea, absolutely no idea what I was doing, but you got to start somewhere. It's why we say it here all the time. You have to start somewhere. And so I just love the idea of helping people with all of those. Hi, Demetrius. So happy to see you here. Oh, it's been a while. I'm so happy that you're here today with us. But we're just talking about really, going through different pivots and doing different things when it comes to content creation and what that looks like. So if anybody has any questions, put them in the chat below. But let me share this real fast. So today's podcast episode, I went on a little bit of a rant. This was intentional. It was a little bit of a tough love, and like, hey, if you're doing this, stop it. And if you're not doing this, well, don't do it. I was wagging my finger. I was virtually wagging my finger when I did this episode. The mom and me like came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, if you are doing this, stop it. But we're talking about how to write better content titles. So I'm going to add this up here. And this was a fun episode because I did get a little ranty. I don't like being ranty in all the episodes. I don't like just, if you're doing this, like I feel like the old woman that's like on her stoop and just shaking her finger. She's got her hand on her hip and she's shaking her finger at everybody. I don't want to be that person. But I do know that we need a little tough love every now and then. And that is what today's episode was definitely about. It was about how to title your content better, but also if you're doing this, here's what to do instead. Like if you're making the mistake, this is how we can fix it. Because I think that that's the only way to give people constructive feedback. And yeah, it tickled me. I loved it. Oh, Monique, I would love to sit there and watch people's reactions when they hear some of the things that I say, because I find myself to be funny. I mean, I'm going to throw that out there that I'm like, I try to be funny in what I do, but sometimes I'm like, you're just an idiot. What are you even saying? What the words coming out of your mouth don't make any sense. What are you even talking about? So just know that if you've ever had those thoughts too, you're not alone. You are absolutely, yes, get off my lawn. Yes, mama bear. I was like, y'all, you are misbehaving and you need to stop it. Like there were so many times, and there was one show in particular that it took everything in me. I was like, do not say their name. I kept saying, I don't want to call anybody out. I don't want to call anybody out. But there was one show in particular, and I don't know these people. So I'm like, if they're friends of yours, I'm sorry. And I still didn't call them out. But maybe you could read between the lines and figure out who I was talking about. But it's just so frustrating, y'all, when people get lazy. I think that's what it is. Laziness frustrates me more than anything else, is when people are lazy with their content titles and they're lazy with how they create their content. And they're just like, I'm just going to copy what everybody else is doing because it's working. I will have people come to me. I have people email me and say, hey, I want to go viral. And I laugh at them. I do. Like, I mean, I'm not to their face. I'm not laughing like in your face. Like, you're the most ridiculous thing ever. Who doesn't want to go viral? Who doesn't want to be an overnight success and wake up tomorrow and just all of your wildest dreams come true? I don't know a human on this planet that has never had those thoughts of, I wish that I could click my heels, snap my fingers, and things would be totally different. And, or your wildest dreams would come true, right? This is what happens often in content creation, and it drives me bonkers. It drives me up the wall because people try to cut corners and they try to ride on someone else's coattails. Oh, and it's just so frustrating. So that's what came out. There's a little preview of what you can expect in today's episode. A little bit of ranting, not too bad, but yeah, like Monique said, it tickled her. I'm so glad that you found it helpful. Yes, exactly. So happy that you're here, Valerie. Yes, checking in from Atlanta, Georgia. So happy that you're here. Yeah, give us the initials. Come on. No, I'm not outing this podcast that I went on a rant about because it's not worth it, right? I'm just going to keep it to myself. But if you're doing it, don't do it. If you're doing this, don't do it. Awesome. Happy that you're here, Diane. So happy to see y'all. So if y'all have any questions, bring them, throw them at me. If you have any examples that you're just like, hey, my podcast isn't growing. I actually had this fantastic, I hope that he responds back on YouTube, but I respond. Here's a fun fact. Here's a trick, life hack, YouTube hack, however you want to look at it. If you're creating video content on YouTube, respond to your comments. This is the simplest thing ever. I actually went and saw one of my videos the other day because on the back end of YouTube, you can see the comments, like all the comments that you should respond to, like populate in this one area. And that's typically what I will do. I will just go down, and it's not by video. It is by video, but it doesn't like open up that video on YouTube and you answer them chronologically in that order. It just says, hey, there's new comments. You should go answer these. And I was answering a question the other day, and it was a man who was saying, my podcast isn't growing. I had like 5 downloads. What can I do? And I responded back to him and I was like, this is a great question. And I have so many follow-up questions. And so I typed them in there. I was like, what is your topic? Who is your audience? What are you currently doing to market your show? And I think that it's one of those things that's often underestimated is when people are creating content, they're not asking questions of their audience, or they're just like, they keep putting things out and they don't ask for feedback. I've done podcast episodes about this. I've done YouTube videos about this, but getting feedback from your audience is so important. It's so, so, so important. I look at people that have these massive platforms, and it's kind of like they built this ivory tower, right? They're up in their tower and they can't speak to the peasants anymore because they're so far beyond them. But I think it's so important that if you're not already doing a live stream like what we're doing here today, that you would incorporate something like this. You don't have to get on here and talk for an hour like I typically do. You don't have to do that. If that's, it's all about baby. I didn't do this whenever I first started, y'all. Speaking of, oh, excuse me. I thought I was about to sneeze. I think it went away. It might come back. I don't know. And I can't get to mute my mic fast enough to turn off if I have to sneeze. But it's one of those things that in 2017, I had started doing a little bit of Facebook Live. You can go back to, I'm almost like, I don't want to tell you to go back, but you can go back. If you go on my Facebook page, it's going to be buried because I've done so many Facebook Lives, but you can absolutely go back and find some of my very first Facebook Lives that I did in 2017. And were not good. I can't believe that was 5 years ago, first of all. Anyway, they were not good. It didn't make sense. I was not looking at the camera lens. Like right now, I'm staring down the barrel of this camera lens. And right behind me, I wish I could like show you. I need to take a picture and show you. But here, actually, I can. This is what we're gonna do. Okay. I'm gonna take a picture of what it looks like of where I'm looking. So I'm gonna point to where I'm looking. Y'all just think I'm so ridiculous. I know. Okay. Look at this. So, do you see this? You can see the screen that's behind me. Okay. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking down the barrel of the lens and you can see where my comments are on the side. That's what I see on the side. So I want you to just know that the way that this is set up, the way like this fancy tripod, this fancy camera, this fancy ring light, I didn't have any of this. I had my phone and I would go live on my phone and it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. I don't know what I thought was going to happen. I knew I wasn't going to die, but I remember having so much anxiety, like having my heart beat so fast. My palms are so sweaty. I was like, okay, do I sit on my hands? What do I do with my hands when I'm going live? But then so I was holding my phone. And so like it's shaking the whole time when I'm going live. And you got to start somewhere. And I'm so glad that I did because here we are 5 years later and things are a lot better. It's still, y'all, if you've never been here, if you've never watched one of these lives before, there's some treats that happen. I talked about this yesterday. Y'all, I have a super big zit that's forming. It's not there. It's forming. And I recorded a podcast episode yesterday and they were talking about transparency, like behind the scenes of what's really going on. And I was like, y'all, I have this huge zit on my face and it's there. It's coming. It's in the works. I'm sure it will grace us with his or her presence. I'm going on a lot of tangents today, but this one actually will crack you up if you have children and you've seen the movie Encanto. I always say it wrong. Encanto. I'll mispronounce it if I just try to keep saying it. But the song We Don't Talk About Bruno, I've named this guy Bruno. So my son said something to me yesterday. He's like, Mom, you've got a bruise? You've got a bruise on your forehead. And I'm like, oh, that's Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. So, oh, y'all, speaking of things in rare form today, that's exactly what this is. Yeah, you can tell me who it is on the lowdown. No, I'm not giving away the people I was calling out in the podcast today. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. I love how transparent you are about it. People would never. Yeah, some people would never. And this is a really good point, Monique, because I think that is why a lot of people maybe they're drawn to my content. I would, as a person, like as a human outside of this online space, online context, this is how you would find me. If I was out in the wild, this is how, like, I honestly was like, you know what? I really need to do my hair for today's live. And then I was like, I don't have time. Speaking of creating content, there's a lot of content that I wanted to work on. And I didn't have to do a lot of pre-recorded videos today. I'm actually recording a lot of podcast episodes. So I was like, you know what? My people, they'll understand that I have a huge zit on my forehead and that my hair is up in a bun. And I can share these with you. I got some new leggings. I got some new leggings that I got really excited about. I got some Costco leggings. Okay. I've hit the stage in my life where I permanently shop at Costco for almost all of my clothes. It's either Costco or Target. This is the stage of my life that I'm in because I don't have time to go anywhere else and I don't do online shopping for clothes. So this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. I officially shop exclusively at Costco and Target and I guess Amazon for anything that I need. So there you go. There you go. Yeah. That's what I am. I'm very open and transparent. I pride myself on being who I am on and off my podcast. And this is a great point, Monique, because I get asked a lot about how do I stand out? How do I stand out in a crowded market, an oversaturated podcast category, or in just, I'm trying to make a name for myself and what I'm doing. And even if Monique has all these credentials, she has all this experience, and she has maybe something that is very similar to the other people that are doing the same thing in her space, what's going to make Monique stand out is her being herself, her sharing her quirks, her sharing her favorite TV shows, or maybe what she loves about being out in nature, or her favorite hobbies, her favorite things to do. We actually have these. This is a funny and really cute, adorable thing. But Chick-fil-A for a long time have had these little they're called table topics. So it's these little bitty cards. They're like way in the other room. Otherwise, I'd go grab it. And they're little questions that you have at dinner time. And we've been passing them around as a family. And we'll ask questions like, hey, what's your favorite movie? Or what's the song you could listen to over and over and over again? And one of those things that I heard yesterday that we talked about was, what would you do if you had an extra hour in the day? And this question was like, oh my gosh, like my immediate answer, like right off the bat was sleep. I would sleep because I get 8 hours every night, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like it would be so awesome if I could sleep for an extra hour, or if I had an extra hour, like what would you do with an extra hour in your day? And how you answer that question, I think is something that personality wise, you could bring to your podcast. It's something extra that you can bring to your content because it's who you are and it's what you love. And maybe it's something that's really obscure and weird and it would help you stand out. Or maybe it's something really simple and you're like, hey, I love to not wear makeup and, show up on a podcast with hair looking a mess. I do have makeup on today, by the way. This is not what I look like without makeup. Just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, sleep. See, it's the little things in life. Again, I've hit the most exciting, spontaneous version of myself. Apparently, shopping at Costco and Target, and I just want to sleep more. No, let's just be honest. Let's just call it what it is. Yeah. Okay. We got a question. Can you give an advice about how can be more appealing to the masses? So this is a good question, but I have a follow-up question to this. So when you ask about being more appealing to the masses, are you wanting to reach a more general audience? Because here's the thing. I like the idea of appealing to a broader audience, but you have to also understand that if you don't have a deeper connection with the people you're talking to, whether it's on your podcast, your YouTube, wherever you're trying to reach people, they don't really have as much of a connection to you as, say, someone that speaks directly to them. So you're here on this channel likely because you are interested in podcasting, content creation, online marketing, like something under the umbrella of being an entrepreneur and having an online business. That's what we talk about here. And if you were just interested in gardening, you wouldn't really care about what we talk about here. But because maybe you have built a business around gardening, that's a lot more specific. You're a lot more invested in what we're talking about here on this channel. So while I love the idea of appealing to the masses, you also want to have that hook that brings people in. So even if you do appeal to a really broad audience, you got to have some, like, what's going to bring them back to you and what you specifically talk about. I hope that makes sense. But let me know. Like, so give me maybe tell me a little bit in the comments about what you talk about or who your audience is, the specific topic that you really want to create a conversation around. And then we can talk about it more about how you can appeal to a bigger audience and what that could look like. Hi, so happy that you're here. LA Rams, YouTuber in the house. Okay. Very loyal subscribers, but my channel growth seems so slow when I see others growing fast. This is a common thing, and I've seen this myself. And I think that it has to do with timing and it has everything to do with patience. Because I can tell you right now, there are people that started podcasting and YouTube around the same time. I actually looked up, okay, so this is a real eye opener, like, holy moly. There's a blogger that started about a year, maybe a year before I did. Now she's on YouTube and she almost has 1 million. She has 757,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I'm like, what did I miss? Like, I got off on the wrong stop or something. Like, something happened where how did she almost have 1 million subscribers on YouTube? It just like blows my mind because she didn't start off with video, and it's just like our paths have gone different ways. So I can tell you that it really does have a lot to do with timing, the type of content that you're creating. And I remember we were talking specifically about, I want to say, your YouTube channel. I don't think it was on Melanie's YouTube or maybe it was on StreamYard. But I know that we had talked about different ways that you can appeal to other LA sports teams. And maybe because you're seasonal, right? You have a seasonal channel. And maybe it just depends on the type of content people are looking for right now. Because when it comes to football, I mean, you have fantasy football, you have people that follow it just for statistics. I can tell you right now, and I know this because my husband does fantasy football. He watches this one specific YouTube channel every single week that gives him the highlights of what's going on with which players and which teams. And like it's always the same guy. And I have no idea what his name is. I couldn't tell you his channel name, but he goes back to the same guy every single time for this one specific reason. So because you said you have very loyal subscribers, I would ask them, what is it about my channel that keeps you coming back? Do some surveying, get some feedback. I love a Google form. If you've never done this and people say, oh, that's tedious, I don't want to do that. I'm telling you, if you poll your audience, ask your people, hey, I'm trying to grow, because if they love you, their loyal subscribers, they want to help you. They want to see you grow, because then they're like, dang, I knew them back when they just had 1,000 subscribers, and like, look at them. They've had this massive growth, this massive explosion. Or like, so do the survey. That's one. Number two, you've got to make stuff that's more shareable, because maybe right now you have content that is search friendly. They can find it if they Google something or look up something on YouTube. But what's going to compel someone to send it? Like, think about those times that you've actually gone to YouTube, you're on your phone, you see something, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to share this. Like, you go the extra mile, you copy the link and you actually text it to someone. Why do you do that? And I think that a lot of people often skim over the fact that we have a lot of our own answers in how we consume content. So I would challenge everybody for the next few days, look at, what do you do on content? Your email. What compels you to open an email from someone? What do you do on YouTube? Why do you go watch a video? And why do you pick this one over that one when you just type something generic in the search bar? Why is it the thumbnail? Is it the title of the video? Is it the description? Is it the thing that they're promising that you're like, oh, I picked this one because I know this person and they make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside? Like, what is it? So these are the things that I would recommend. So one, ask your loyal subscribers, what do you love about my channel and how can we make it better? What's some of the other types of content that you want to see us create or do or anything like that? And two, how can you make it more shareable? How could you make it where they invite people to come to the party? Like you're having a party. How do you like, hey, I want you to bring 2 more friends, or can you tell 2 more people about what we're doing? And if you have an email list, this is another thing, because I don't know if you do a lot of if your content's all live or if it's pre-recorded, but if you're doing live streams, highly recommend scheduling it before you actually go live and then asking people to share it, like sending it to your email list the day before you go live and say, hey, don't forget, show up at this time or we're going to go live. And then that will have more people showing up whenever you're live. Like today, I scheduled this out. I scheduled it yesterday. I should get better about scheduling it less than 24 hours before I go live, but it is what it is. But you knew that I was coming. A lot of you were here right when I went live. And some of you saw that I was live later. You're like, oh, wait, what's Crystal talking about? Let's go see what she's doing because I'm already on YouTube. Let's go see. I'm on Facebook. Oh, let's see what she's talking about today. So do some of that kind of consumer behavior evaluation of yourself. And maybe you could ask some other people, when you find my content, like, why do you come to me? Why me? And you got to be prepared for the answers. Some of it may be good, some of it may be bad, some of it may be indifferent, like, oh, you're just there. Some of it might not be helpful, but you have to start feeling like getting comfortable asking those questions. So, okay, yeah, with the Rams and the Super Bowl, I'd like to capitalize on the search. That's exactly what I was going to say is with the Rams. I'm trying to think of search results that you could work on because I've actually been talking a lot more about. Tell me more about if you're doing live stream versus pre-recorded, because that would be actually really helpful on the search terms. Because when it comes to YouTube, when I am looking for specific things, I don't typically go off of what is necessarily in the title. I am looking at the thumbnails. I will see the title, and that's kind of secondary. I look at the thumbnail first. We all judge a book by its cover. I don't know why the term ever came about. Don't judge a book by its cover, because it's what we all do. Come on. We all judge people by the way that they present themselves online, how the thumbnails look. I'm not saying you got to be perfect. Y'all know if you've been listening to this stream for a while, you know I'm anything but perfect. But you just gotta keep showing up. And so give me some more information on what you're doing with your content currently, and I can give you some ideas for sure. Because you definitely got to capitalize on the Rams being in the Super Bowl. I'm so happy that you're here. So I want to try to pronounce your name. So it's Shantanu. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But I'm so happy that you're here from India. So happy you're here. My Linda. So have you heard of Anchor by Spotify? I have heard of Anchor. It is the free podcast platform that Spotify has. I don't recommend it often or ever because the reason is I've always used Buzzsprout and I don't have any experience with Anchor. I've never actually gone into the app and used it. So I don't have firsthand experience. Therefore, I really don't like to give people advice on it. I know Buzzsprout. It's what I used from the very beginning of my creating my content. So if anybody wants to know about Buzzsprout and get a 90-day free trial, you can go to crystalprofit.com/Buzzsprout and check it out. The only thing I know about Anchor is it's owned by Spotify. And they will put ads in front of your show that you don't really have a lot of say in. And that's really all I know. That's the extent of my knowledge when it comes to Anchor, because I've always used Buzzsprout. So I hope that answers your question. Shantanu says, I watched a few of your videos and let me see. I have to move this over here. I showed y'all my setup, but now I'm like, something is funky. I cannot read all of the comment. There we go. I watched a few videos of yours to get some info about podcasts and stuff, and they were really informative. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. I'm glad that you found some stuff helpful on the channel. Let me know if you have any other specific questions. Really good advice. Thank you. I'm going to Google form. Yes, Google form up a storm, but for sure creating a shareable video. I do a lot of live streaming, but I also do a daily vlog as long as they are in the Super Bowl. Okay. I'm planning a massive Super Bowl watch party with trivia and a giveaway. This is great. This is great. This is great. I reached out to affiliate to gift the giveaway. This is awesome. And just so you know, because I've done giveaways before, I would have some ideas of what you want to do, but don't feel like you have to have all the prizes like right there. I think it's cool if you can like hold it up and say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do," or "This is what we're going to do," but don't feel like, I mean, you could always do gift cards. Like you could ask someone like, "Hey, you do you want to sponsor like, hey, this gift card, it could be $25 Amazon gift card. This $25 Amazon gift card is sponsored by the local sports store," or what, you could do a gift card to Academy since it's sports related. I mean, there's a lot of different fun ways that you could give away footballs. Like if you, I mean, I don't know if you want to ship footballs, but I don't know, maybe that was a terrible idea. Let's scratch that one. This is what happens when you're brainstorming in real time. That was a terrible one. Scratch it. I do a lot of whiteboards. Oh, and because I have my new tripod, I want to do this more. I have a whiteboard right over here. And I want to do some more like, oh, okay, what's your idea? Okay, let's brainstorm this out. But we would just scratch through. We're not mailing footballs. That was a terrible idea, Crystal. Don't even try to do that. That was awful. But yeah, so you do a lot of live streaming, but you're also going to do a daily vlog as long as they're in the Super Bowl. So when it comes to SEO and the LA Rams, what I would do, and I don't know if you use TubeBuddy or an SEO tool for your YouTube channel. I use TubeBuddy as well as it's called Keywords Everywhere. And I actually have some SEO videos, but they're coming out after you are like, I think it's like right before the Super Bowl happens. So it wouldn't be as useful. But Keywords Everywhere is the other tool that I use for YouTube. I would recommend, I think that there still might be a free trial that you could use. If not, I pay like $10 and it lasts me like 6 months or a year. I love Keywords Everywhere, super affordable. But what you can do is you type into the YouTube search bar right now and see, are like, what are people searching for? Are they looking for Los Angeles Rams or LA Rams? Are they looking up specific players? Are they looking up past LA Rams players? I actually did this morning. It's so funny. Talk about serendipitous if everything works together. My kids were talking about, because we live in Texas and Houston, Texas are right down the road, but we always rooted for the Cowboys. Like we're a Cowboys team, Cowboys family, woohoo, all the things. And my boys started asking me about, well, who are some of the most famous Cowboys players? And when was the last time they went to the Super Bowl? We were Googling these things this morning and all this information popped up. So you have to know what people are searching for in order to title your videos correctly so people will find them. So I hope that helps. But let me know if you have any other questions about that. Yeah. So Diane has great information about Anchor. Could it be totally different ad than what your show is about? Oh, she had a question about Anchor. There we go. You have a conservative show, but Anchor can put a liberal ad on your pre-roll. So from my understanding, again, this is my outsider looking in perspective. I think that if they could put any ad on your show, I mean, it's kind of like with YouTube. So I don't have control over all the ads that people see on my YouTube channel. I don't even know what they are. I can't, unless I go and watch my own videos, I don't often see which one is, I don't know. Is it Geico? Is it a Chobani? Is it another content? Is it a competitor? So with Anchor, I think it's the same way. Like you have no say on what's actually going to show up on your podcast. So that is something to be mindful of. If you are using Anchor, you don't really have a say on that. And I think that goes for any of the free podcast apps that you use for hosting. So that's just a heads up. Great question, Diane. Do you hashtag your podcast with podcast so people know that your video is a podcast? Such a meta question. I love this, my Linda. Okay, so hashtag your podcast with podcast. I don't include a hashtag in anything unless it's on Instagram or YouTube. Those are the only places that I use a hashtag. And even on Instagram, I don't always do that. I don't think that a hashtag it doesn't weigh as heavily on your content as excuse me, as it did 2 to 3 years ago. But again, I'm not the social media expert. That's just what I do. Maybe I'm doing things wrong, but my podcast, I don't put a hashtag in any of my podcast information. A great question though. Okay, is keywords everywhere in Android Play Store? I couldn't find it. So keywords everywhere. If you go to, I don't use this on the mobile version. I should have clarified that. I use it on the desktop version, and you can use it on Chrome and Firefox. These are the two. You can use it as a plugin on your laptop, desktop computer. And here, let me just show you. Oh, we're doing a real-time demonstration. This is what happens when you show up live, okay? Let me take this off. Now, I'm going to share this. I'm going to go to YouTube, and I'm going to turn on. Okay, let me make sure that's not going to be crazy. All right, are we ready? Are we ready? Well, y'all about to get a front row seat to how Keywords Everywhere works, okay? Wait, let me do that. So let me turn this other banner off real fast. I do have a YouTube video coming out about this. It's going to be a lot more detailed, but since we're here, let me make this bigger. Everybody can see this okay, right? We are going to go up here. Do you see this little extension? I'm going to turn this on. This is my Keywords Everywhere plugin that I have on my desktop. And then what I'm going to do now that it's here, I'm actually going to refresh this page because it has to kick in. Now it's ready. I'm going to look up I have my caps lock on. Los Angeles Rams. Let's see how many people are looking up the Los Angeles Rams. Do you see this right here? This number at the top that tells you how many people are searching for that on a monthly basis. This is a good thing and it's a bad thing because it's so many people. There's 368,000 people that have looked for LA Rams, and this is across YouTube. It could be YouTube and Google, but for me, I look at this as YouTube. That's a lot. So it's really hard to stand out when it's that many people, unless you have a massive, look, the first thing that shows up is NBC Sports. I'm assuming NBC Sports has a ton of subscribers on their channel. The next one is the NFL. So that's a lot of people to try to stand out. But what if we wanted to do LA Rams Super Bowl? Let's see how many are searching for that. Okay, there's 390 people a month. You have a much higher chance if you get a lot more specific. So if you've ever heard of someone talk about long tail keywords, SEO keywords, they need to be long form. This is what they're talking about because you see the difference. And there was 300 and something thousand for LA Rams, or excuse me, Los Angeles Rams. But if you look up Los Angeles Rams Super Bowl, it's a lot more specific. Now, are you going to rank are you going to be the first one on there? I don't know, but I can just tell you that the more specific you can get with your keywords, the more likely it is that your content is going to show up if someone specifically searches for what it is. So if you're going to do a vlog from now until the Super Bowl happens, maybe that's what you put in there. So let's look at the difference between Los Angeles Rams and LA Rams and see what's actually happening. Okay, so there's 1,600 more people, or not more people, but 1,600 people a month looking for LA Rams. So that number is higher of people that are looking for this content. But again, it just depends on, maybe you can poll your people next time you go live and you talk to your audience, say, hey, do you say LA Rams or do you say Los Angeles Rams? It makes a difference. I know it sounds really silly to ask that. You're like, well, everyone says LA Rams. That's what we say. Like, this is our team. This is how, but you need to be aware of how your audience talks about themselves. That is key. This is like a marketing principle, marketing 101. If you're doing something else, come back to me for a second. This is really important because the way that your audience speaks is the only way that matters. It doesn't matter how you talk about your content, because if you label things the way that you think about it, it's not gonna matter, because that's not how people are actually physically typing into their keyboard on their phone. You have to know what that information is. So I hope that this helps. I'm actually going to come down here and give you this is again, this is keywords everywhere on, it's my Chrome extension. I just come up here, I toggle this on and off based on whether I'm actively doing keyword research, which I was. It's funny, this is the second day in a row doing keyword research. But look, you can see based on volume what people are actually looking for. So I don't know who Matthew Stafford is. I feel like I should know who that is. I don't know who this is, y'all. I don't follow football as well as I probably should, especially being in Texas. I'm creating content. I like to do these other things instead. So sorry, I'll let y'all be the football fanatics. But this, like, LA Rams has 673,000 hits. That's a lot. That's a lot of people looking. The NFL has 30.4 million in an average monthly basis. And I'm like, yeah, okay. See, I knew I was going to get laughed at. That's their quarterback. Exactly. I don't know who this is, guys. And my husband, I think he's doing like weekly fantasy football. So I don't think that's his quarterback. So I don't know. Don't laugh at me. Okay. Okay. I'm trying. I'm not going to help you if you're going to make fun of me. Okay. Like, we're going to cut this off real fast. But okay. So that's their quarterback. You can see, holy moly, there's a bunch of people searching for this. But what if you took it a step further? What if you put like Matthew Stafford highlights, or Matthew Stafford statistics over the years, or maybe you have some information about when he played. Did he play in college? Where did he play? Did he bounce around schools? Did he, play for any Division 1 schools where he won awards or anything like that? Like, what's the different angle? How can you stand out? Because there are going to be a lot of people trying to capitalize on this information, and you have to find the angle that your loyal listeners, your loyal subscribers would want to see. And maybe that's what you can ask in your next live stream or your next pre-recorded video. Like, hey, in your survey that you send out, what do you want to know? Like, what are the things? Do you want to know, what do they like to do in their free time? Do you want to know, what their statistics are? Like, what are all these things? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're going to be friends as long as you can't make fun of me. Okay. I can make fun of myself, but you can't poke it. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. But does this help? I hope this helps. Anybody else have any other questions? I mean, we have a few more minutes. I could do another deep dive on someone else's SEO, but this is where I nerd out, y'all. And this is why I wanted to kind of niche up into content creation, what I do behind the scenes, because this information isn't always readily out there, but it's the way that I do things behind the scenes. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So you'll have to tell us what worked, what didn't work. When it comes to creating a Google form and submitting something to your audience, there are some pros and cons. If no one's ever here, let me turn this off before I forget, because it's going to use my credits. Okay. When it comes to doing surveys, surveys. I took a market research. So if y'all don't know this, my background is in marketing. I went to school for marketing. Market research has its pros and cons. It is, hey, I'm gonna spend all this time. I'm gonna create this survey, and you may only have 2 or 3 people answer it. Y'all, I've sent a survey to thousands of people, and I got back like 5 answers. Take those 5 answers and like hold them like they are precious jewels, because it is real, honest feedback from your audience, and every word that they say back to you matters. I recently got an email from a student of mine that said, hey, I was listening to your recent podcast episode. This is actually like in the moment, like I just responded to her email talking about this, but she said, all this SEO stuff that you're talking about in your latest podcast episode, that wasn't even in the course, because I have a course about podcasting. And I told her, I said, I know. And like, I'm kicking myself, but it's how I learn as a creator, as a product owner, when I'm creating these programs, how can I make them better? It's by listening to people. It's by listening. She was like, "Hey, you talked about this and I learned a lot from you, but this isn't even in your course and I paid you money to teach me these things." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but let's be really honest. I didn't know all these things when I first created this program, which is why I'm redoing it and I'm making it better, because it's the only way you get better over time is by getting that type of feedback from your audience. But just be aware, you could send it to thousands of people and only get a few responses back. That's normal. That's how market research works, unfortunately. But every single person that answers you, hold it like it's a little precious ruby and say, "Oh my gosh, like this is so, so helpful," because it will give you that information, how people talk about themselves, the type of content that they want, and it will be so, so helpful. Yes, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Okay, so we have a question. Do you think that sometimes people also judge? I don't know why. I think it's like whenever I do this here, my camera is in the way and I can't read all of your comment. There we go. Do you think that sometimes people also judge whether they'll watch a podcast or not on the basis of the accent, voice, and nationality of the speaker? Then what should a speaker do generally? So I get a lot of questions about having an accent and whether or not I should do a podcast in my native language, in the local language, or in English. This is the question. I actually have a lot of people that have reached out from it was a village in Nigeria, and I have a friend that's from Nigeria, and she talks about like Nigeria podcasts are about to explode. And I'm like, bring it. That sounds like so much fun. I cannot wait to see what comes next. But there was a lot of questions about local dialect versus more of a general dialect that would appeal to more people, or English. And this person was like, I speak all three of these, but which one should I use? And my answer is, who are you trying to serve? Are you trying to serve a global audience? Because even if you have a podcast, it doesn't mean you have to talk to everyone. You could talk to someone very specifically in your local area. I could create a podcast that just speaks to people that live in the Houston area. Even though it's not changing my dialect and my accent, it's just specifically if you live in Washington, you probably don't care about what I'm talking about here in Houston. So, all of that to say, when it comes to how you speak, this is going to be up to you and how confident you are in your message. Because even if you do have an accent, if it's going to be something that it gets in your own way, like where you're not confident about what you're saying, it's going to discourage you over time. That doesn't even factor in the fact that if someone else thinks that you have an accent, or they think that you speak in a way that it's hard to understand, or they can't really relate to what you're saying as well because you have an accent. That's all in confidence. That's all in how you speak with confidence, your shoulders back, and you're like, I know what I'm talking about, because people will look past that. I mean, there's people that I've listened to that they don't speak in English in the way that I would typically speak in English, but I listen to what they have to, because I want to know what they have to say. Even if it's harder for me to listen to them, I want to know what they have to say. So that's my take on it. But when it comes to your voice, you just got to own it. You got to own it. You got to push past this fear of, you don't sound like other people, or y'all, I have an accent. I know it's my Texas twang, and I've had people tell me like, you sound like an idiot because you have this long Texas drawl and you talk a little bit slower and all these things. And I'm like, oh, well, then I am not for you. And we have to be really comfortable saying that out loud to other people. If someone doesn't like the sound of my voice, thank you. Bless you. Bye. I'm not going to be for you because I can't change it. I can't. This is the sound of my voice. I can't change it. I know my husband wishes I could turn down the volume because I am really, really loud. It's who I am. This is why, it's why my microphone is so far behind. I'm not going to change who I am. I can't change my voice. I'm not going to change how loud I am. This is how loud I normally am. I will change my equipment, not my voice, to show up the way that I want to create content. So I hope that helps. Let me know. Let me know if that, yeah, okay. This makes a lot of sense. Thanks. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. I think it's just going to go back to, who are you trying to reach? If you're trying to reach someone in your local or native language, go with that. And then later, this is another thing because I have the question, should I do it in my local language, my native language first, and then I can always switch to English? I would not do that. If you're going to do two separate languages, I would consider having two separate podcasts. And this, I've heard people say that sounds like a lot of work. And I'm like, yeah, well, if I'm just letting you know, if, and you can even do a combination of how you speak. Like I know I'm friends with a lot of Spanish speakers and they'll speak in Spanglish, where it's like a little bit of Spanish and English combined because that's how they would talk to their friends and family. So that's something again, and that's not going to appeal to the masses. It's not going to appeal to everybody, but it will appeal to the specific type of person that they're trying to target with their content. So yeah, I'm glad that that makes sense, or I hope that that makes sense, and I hope that that helps. But when you join your course, you're in for life. Isn't that right? So any updates you do? Yes. Yes. So this is actually a good question. So if you're watching this and you're already a student of profit podcasting, yes, you will be getting the updates. So we're actually working on, I'm going to be redoing the entire program this year. I want to update some of the videos. I want to redo them for many reasons. One of them being the echo in the video. I can't stand it anymore. And again, this goes back to upgrades over time and you have to start somewhere. I cannot stand how much echo is in the videos inside the program now that I have my fancy podcast. I didn't have my fancy podcast microphone when I recorded those videos. So yes, we are doing some updates. If you're already in the program, you will get all of those updates. But a little sampling of what we did today for our friend with the LA Rams YouTube channel. It's going to be like that, but even deeper into what really goes into SEO and things like that. So y'all, we made it. Holy moly. How did an hour fly by so fast? This was awesome. Y'all had great questions. Thank you so much for showing up. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me or send me a DM on Instagram. Or if you're in our Facebook group, reach out in there. You can tag me. Actually, I haven't put this up in a while. If you want to join us, I have a free Facebook group. That's where everyone that's on the Facebook, you saw the name with the Facebook sign. That's usually in our Facebook group or on the Facebook page. But we do have a great community of podcasters and creators, and we would love to see you in there to ask questions like this on a regular basis. I do these lives every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central. So we'll see you again next Taco Tuesday. But if you have questions in between them, or you want a place to share your content or the latest thing that you're working on, we would love to have you join us in the Profit Podcast community. So come join us on Facebook. But that's all I have for y'all today. So again, one more time, have a fantastic Taco Tuesday, and I will see y'all next week. Bye, y'all.